So right now we're going to welcome in Mr. Mark Trible, get his thoughts on the opening weekend of high school football playoffs. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully.
What's your Twitter follower up to? What are you up to? I'm at like 3,200.
I think I'm at about 6,200.
Oh man, I got a ways to go. You got the little blue check mark too. It means you're legit. I got to figure out how to get that.
Well, that gives you 3,000, I think. So that's the difference, Sully, right there. I mean, it's just a 3,000 boost. If you get that check mark, we'd be tied automatically.
How do you get the check mark?
I don't remember how he got it. I think it had to do with, I think the company you register or something.
I got to figure that out.
Yeah, I can't remember. But
I'm like an 8. I'm like an 8 seed right now. You're like a 3 or 4.
Yeah, we're officially official with the blue check mark.
Yes.
Verified,
100%. So what's going on, man? It's kind of that November football, rainy, windy, not quite cold yet, but we're getting all the elements here. And did it go how expected last night, or I was a little bit surprised at some of the blowouts?
I don't want to say I was surprised, Sully, but I did want to wait and see kind of some of the results given this new system. And I think for the most part, I think it kind of played out just about right. I mean, I think everything kind of fit to what we expected. So I don't know that I was shocked, but it was kind of maybe a little bit of surprise that the system seemed to have worked pretty well last night, I think, if you look at some of the scores.
Now, were you out at Lenape last night?
Yes, I was.
So you saw a 3-0 barn burner?
That would be correct, Sully. 3-0. Stephen Mulville hits a career-long 48-yard field goal to win it. He hit it in the second quarter. I think it was the second play of the second quarter. Just no offense after that, man. I mean, it was the weather had a lot to do with that, though. I think both teams on a dry field would have mustered some offense. Just very good defensive teams, too, but just wasn't meant to be last night, so not a lot of agate.
Yeah, the box score probably took about 3 minutes to type up, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if we still do box scores, but if we do somewhere.
Remember the good old days of box scores?
Yes. Stephen Mulville, 48 kick.
Not often the kicker gets your hats off.
Second time he's got it.
Yeah?
I think I've only given it out to a kicker 2 or 3 times, and I know at least 3 times, and Stephen has gotten it twice because he kicked, I think, a 38-yarder last year to beat RV in the sectional final in South Jersey 5.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Stephen Mulville's clutching the postseason, man. That's one thing you got to say about the kid.
Talking with Mark Trible, the Courier Post, and Mark, what's your biggest takeaway from last night? I mean, obviously, Delsey is playing well again, as usual. West Deptford, kind of the usual suspects in some of these brackets. Millville has been red hot. They've won 6 in a row, so they're on to the next round. Any kind of big takeaways from the Courier Post coverage area?
Yeah, look at West Deptford. Look at what they've been doing. I mean, they've played very well, and I know Deptford played them close late in the season. But, they went out last night and just took Barnegat behind the woodshed. I think they had 40-some points at halftime. They win that game by I think it was 52-7. They just rolled. And next week, the showdown that I know so many people are probably aching for, we'll find out if we're going to get it today because Camden High is the 2 seed and they play Collingswood in a rematch of an upset a few years ago. Collingswood beat them. So, if Camden can get by the Panthers, they would host West Deptford next Saturday. So that really would be one of the games of the year, I think, should it happen. I wouldn't doubt Collingswood being able to play that tight, though. That stood out to me, the way Millville's come on. I mean, Shamor Collins last night, 5 sacks, a couple tackles for loss as they end up coming back and beating Winslow pretty good in the second half. Shawnee last night, one of these teams, 2-6. They get in. They beat Mainland by 18. They're going to go to Millville next week. That's another one. Group 4 has some good semifinals in Highland and Clearview. That's a rematch from a game that was played earlier in the season, too, that was very close. So a couple nice rematches. Pleasantville, Haddonfield, another one. There's a lot to look forward to, Sully.
Hey, Mark, we're kind of waiting on the final dancer to the ball here in South Jersey Group 2 with Woodrow Wilson. If they can win, man, that would set up a tremendous semifinals when you're talking about Pleasantville, Haddonfield, and then West Deptford and Woodrow Wilson. I mean,
well, I'm sorry, 2, Wilson in 3, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Camden. Yeah, Camden.
Well, I think we're feeling the same way in Group 3 too, Sully.
Yeah.
We can have Wilson and Delsey, Timber Creek, and tonight Oakcrest goes to Burlington Township in a game that was moved back. So if we have Burlington Township, Creek, Delsey, and Wilson in 3, that's a very, very good Final Four. But Camden for sure. I mean, Group 2 is just so loaded, and a couple of kids from Anfield told me Pleasantville was the toughest team they had faced this year. They thought man for man, and Pleasantville showed it last night. So, they get that rematch. Haddonfield only scored one offensive touchdown in that game. I think it was 20-7.
Yep.
The Haddons won. West Everett's playing as well as anybody, and so is Camden. Camden's beaten teams in the state by an average of 40 points. They only give up like 3 points a game. Sully, so you really can't look past Camden. I think they're fighting their own demons. They haven't had a lot of playoff success. So it's more about just taking care of business and playing how they can. Them and West Deptford certainly, though, would be just an unbelievable matchup.
But, man, if that ends up being the semifinals, you're talking about Haddonfield, Pleasantville, and Camden, West Deptford, man, that is some serious, serious football. I mean, you could pick those teams out of a hat for a day and a half and come up with a different champion every time.
Yeah, I think all 4 of the teams would be capable of winning a lot of the other groups, Sully. I mean, we have Haddonfield number 1. I've seen West Deptford. They can play as well as anybody. Camden High, some people think they should be number 1. And Pleasantville, talent-wise, I mean, to beat a team like Cedar Creek 57-0 in the first round of the playoffs, maybe they're clicking on all cylinders now, too. That Group 2's been the best group this year. I thought it was the best group last year, top to bottom in terms of depth. And, it's certainly shown with this bracket. But, yeah, a lot of good matchups, man.
Talking Mark Trible, the Courier Post. And, Mark, I know you love those Group 1s. And how about Gateway, man? The Gators, 8-0. That used to be a team you pencil them in for 1-9 every season. And they've done a great job turning things around up there. What's going on with the Gators?
You're exactly right. I mean, Sully, last year they won their first playoff game against Woodstown. I mean, the first one in school history. And this year they're undefeated. You can't say enough about the job Josh Mason has done as head coach. He came from Maryland a few years ago and has settled here and really has taken to it. Pete Getz runs the defense. His kids, Matt and Tommy, do a great job. Matt's the quarterback. Kyle Albiser, Jake Schultes, they just have guys. Laquan Sims, Pat Hayden, Derek Parker. They have a handful of guys that come back off last year's team. They're hungry. They're good. Their defense is phenomenal. They beat Paulsboro last week on the road for the first time in 33 years. They could be going to Salem. Salem plays today against Overbrook. And I expect Salem will probably beat them. They beat them 53-0 about a month ago. So if Salem gets by Overbrook again, they would have Gateway at home in the bottom of that bracket. And, of course, Buda wins last night. Pensgrove plays today, so could have another really good 4 there. You could have 3 undefeated teams in the semifinals. Sully, we only have 6 in South Jersey total. Half of them are in South Jersey Group 1.
Wow.
It's great.
Awesome, man. Listen, Mark, we got to let you get going here. Sorry about cutting you off short. We'll get into some more of this stuff next week as the second round gets underway. We got to turn the mic over to the Schweim twins here in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be chaos here, but we appreciate your time, and thanks for keeping us in the loop, and we'll check in with you next week, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Sully. It's the best time of the year, man. Enjoy it.